first let me just say I apologize for the bags under my eyes, but I've been watching the TV, what Brian's been saying about me there, and you know, when you have to campaign all day and then you gotta go up to the corrections facilities, install the bars to let the violent offenders and the sex offenders and the rest of the streets, it's hard work. You gotta work hard doing that, so I've been working hard. I'm very glad you asked about corrections. I don't blame mayors and local municipal officials for feeling like they are getting dumped a problem that they don't deserve, because you are. Here's the evidence, and this is what I want to do. I will not release any offenders early. I will not let sexual predators into the streets, as the TVs say. I will not let drug dealers into the streets. I don't believe that any Vermonters believe that any legitimate candidate would do that. This is what we must do. Right now, 40%, or let's put it this way, we're spending $40 million locking up nonviolent offenders in Vermont. We have more nonviolent offenders locked up per capita than most states. What we know about these individuals is that 90% of them have difficulty reading, 95% have drug and alcohol related addictions, and many have mental health challenges. This is the other thing we know. They tend to serve 1 to 2 to 3 year terms. So every 3 years, they are released by their sentences because their sentences are up. What we're doing wrong now is allowing them to re-enter the community, dumped on our local downtowns, without the services on the ground to ensure that they don't feed their drug and alcohol habits, unable to get a job because they can't read, and end up back in prison at $42,000 a year. Right now, 70% of our nonviolent offenders are ending up back in prison in 3 years. Now I say to Brian, you know, let's do it based on your profession. You know, if you want to fly from Burlington to Los Angeles, hey, go with Brian. Trust me, do not go with me. If you want a governor who can get tough things done, go with me. If you had 100 flights from Burlington to LA and 70% of them didn't make it, would you get back in the cockpit? I wouldn't. So we can do a lot better. This is what we must do. Put the drug and alcohol services on the ground. Put the housing through VHCB in our communities. Put the adult basic ed in our communities. The life skills and the mental health counseling. So that when these folks have their time up, we're actually giving them the services to break the 70% recidivism. I think if we do that, and we must, we will reduce the corrections budget over a 3 or 4 year period significantly, and we will make Vermont a better place, a safer place, because they won't be reoffending to feed their drug and alcohol habits.
Senator, we're 3 minutes are up, so I'd like to move to the next question on state budget. All signs point to the next state budget being $112 million short of being in balance. What will you do as governor to assure that the current fiscal shortfalls facing the state budget do not end up being shifted into Vermonters' property taxes?
I say again, judge me on my record, not my rhetoric. 2 years ago, we had a $168 million budget shortfall. The governor proposed a budget, which Brian supported, that would have shifted the cost of the teacher's retirement fund back to the local property tax base, not just last year, but every single year going forward. That would have represented, in our judgment, and Sue Minter, who's here, Representative Sue Minter and others, agreed with this assessment, the biggest property tax increase that perhaps Vermont has seen ever, certainly in a long time. What the goal was to shift the burden that Montpelier has always paid to the local property tax base. What did we do? We said, Governor, no way, no how. We overrode, the governor vetoed the budget for the first time in history, and we overrode that veto. I will not balance Montpelier's budget problems on the backs of local property tax payers. It is not fair. It's not the way we do things in Vermont. That's what that battle was about. It was about whether or not we shift $100 million that year and $70 million going forward between the teacher's retirement cost and the cost of health care back to the property tax base. Now they said, well, that's not true because communities are going to reduce their cost by that amount. And I was like, wow, that's quite an assumption. our local communities good, but how are they gonna do that? So, again, I say, judge us by our record. I will not balance the budget based upon the theory that property taxpayers have more capacity. We cut $168 million 2 years ago. We cut $158 million this year. We have another 112 to go. And this is what I'd say. This is gonna be a tough job. Whoever wins this governorship is not unlike the role that Barack Obama got dealt. A tough hand. You've got to balance a budget and create jobs at the same time. I have written budgets, negotiated budgets, passed budgets, made budgets happen that are balanced and make sense. Brian has never had to vote on a budget, never had to write a budget, never had to negotiate a budget. Hire someone who's been doing the job. I have a track record, and that track record includes understanding that you don't balance Montpelier's fiscal problems on the backs of our municipal government.
Thank you, Senator.